one thing I'd like to touch on too is why did you start the podcast? Was that just because you like talking?
Well, I mean, I do like talking. I mean, those of us who make a living doing this kind of have to.
I,
But yeah, I'll admit to it. There you go. But I will say that one of the big reasons I wanted to do this was because I ended up being the bow on the present or the icing on the cake more times than I could ever mention. And what would happen is people would come to me with a script, which is often what they do, and they would have already done everything else, and my voice had to fit into the part that they were using it for. Whereas I think if they had thought about this beforehand, if they had crafted the music, if they had music that was already theirs, that fit their company DNA, that really told people who they were, if they had other audible touch points that made sense to give them a good idea of, to give people outside of their company a good idea of who they were, even people inside their company. Because I mean, that whole audio branding thing can work inside the company as well. The people who work for you need to know who you are too,
mm,
so that they can tell other people, right?
yeah, exactly.
So it just seemed to me, yeah, it seemed to me like if they thought about the audio beforehand, if they gave it a little more thought, that the cohesive whole would be much more hard hitting. It would emotionally resonate with people a lot better. And I wanted to understand why my clients were hiring me. What were they hiring me for? I am one small part in the very large umbrella that is audio branding. There is a lot of different moving parts in that, underneath that umbrella.
Mm,
And I wanted to understand what went into that so that I could better service my clients. And
mm,
I actually have ended up interviewing a lot of my clients because I want to know what they're thinking, and I think it would be useful for other people to know what they're thinking.
yeah.
And I interview a lot of audio branding companies who take that whole idea of representing a company in their audio form to the nth level. So, I talked with someone who was doing some of the music for the MasterCard brand. And I've talked with people who've worked on huge accounts who are still doing this on a regular basis. And it's always a journey for both the company and the audio branding company. And there's so much more to learn. And it's very psychological how hard hitting sound can be for us emotionally.
Mm,
So the way that I usually explain this is it impressed upon me that when I didn't want to be scared by a horror film, I would turn off the sound. Because think about that, right? You know what's going on. You can see what's going on.
yeah,
It may
yeah,
be
yeah,
gory, it may not be, whatever, right?
yeah.
But if the music or the sound effects or the screaming or whatever is going on there isn't happening, you have no emotional context or investment in what you're
Mm,
looking at. So if you think about that, if you extrapolate that, without sound, we don't have any emotional investment.
mm,
So with sound, you have emotional investment,
mm,
which means really, as far as marketing is concerned, we should be using that to make more of an emotional impact on the people who experience our brands.
mm,
And it's important. It's a lot more important, I think, than people believe.
yeah.